Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frontier Opening Bell. This is your Monday edition. Getting through to you is the 10th of July. I am Bosin Omofaye. And just a quick run through the markets, as it were, over the weekend. Let's start with Sunday, looking backwards with the Egyptian stock markets starting with a very deep dive, 3.20% on Sunday. The market was open for just about 2 days last week, and the market remained in the negative territory. No thanks to that very long other holiday which Egypt took, and the market is yet to get its groove back. And that's the story. Is it reverse story when you look at Friday on the Nairobi stock market, where the Kenyan stocks is roaring back 111.37, up by about 2.35%. That was a very strong gain for the All-Share Index. All the main indices on the Nairobi bourse were in the green shoot. That was quite good. The Nigerian market followed in the same trajectory, 1.65%. The market added 1.13 trillion naira last week in Lagos. That's the biggest single week since July started. Of course, that was the first week in July, by the way, and that added to about 5.3 trillion that the market gained in the first half of the year. The market roller coastered through 61,000, crossed 62, and finished above 63,000 when we went for the weekend on Friday. Keep that in mind on the 7th. The PRVM next up wasn't left out in that big jump with 0.6% in the green. The BRVM Composite printing 202.47, and the Ghana stock market also took a bite of that green shoot as well. Then you've got the GSE also up by 1% Friday, 74,103. However, the Zimbabwe stock market in Southern Africa continue to tread water because of the political and the election environment now in play. Investors taking profit, booking profit of the ZSE right now. So that's where we are as we start a new week. We've got a couple of data for you this week, including June inflation report, including PMIs and interest rate decision in Namibia and a few other places. Keep an eye on all of that. We'll keep them coming to you. But let's quickly take you through the big stories from the East African corridor, where Tanzania and Rwanda inflation reports are due for the month of June. That's coming through today. We'll report that for you tomorrow on Frontier Opening Bell. Kenya's first quarter food import bill up by 58.4%. to about 80 billion shillings. That's quite high for the William Ruto's administration. In the meantime, in Ethiopia, the Ethio Telecom is in the eyes of investors, with Orange and Emirates Telecoms Group looking to put a consortium together to ask for 45% of the Ethio Telecom, which is Ethiopia's iconic telecommunication company. Safaricom is already boots on the ground with its own consortium in Ethiopia. Now, the market is getting a whole lot more interested. The game is getting bigger, with the folks from Emirates and from Orange coming into play in the Ethiopian open-up market for investors in the telecom space. We'll say similar reforms and opening up business in the banking and financial services industry in Ethiopia under Prime Minister Abiy. That's it. Let's talk about the DRC and the South Africa looking to look again into the Inga 3 hydro project, one of the biggest electric power projects in the world. The Inga 3 project remains to come into full capacity. And now perhaps with South Africa's buckling at the knees as far as Eskom crisis is concerned, we'll pay closer attention and move on very quickly in that deal with the DR Congo, where the Inga 3 project is situated. On the DRC, is targeting gold production. Says about 2,000 gold tons from Kibali mines was made in the second quarter, ended June. That's according to the DR Congo, by the way. Let's move on to West Africa and Nigeria inclusive. Looking at the top stories for this week. Of course, you know the big story Friday. President Bola Tinubu picked Taiwo Idele of PwC, West Africa tax leader and a fiscal policy partner at PwC Nigeria, to chair the new body presidential committee that would oversee the country's tax portfolio. The idea is to see how to generate more tax, review tax laws, and see how revenue could become more robust for the government that spent the last 8 years, that is President Buhari's administration, tried to rev up revenue, not so successfully. Now Tinubu's just about 2 months in office and is hitting the ground. The latest is to hit the tax and the revenue button very hot on his fingertips. And last week, Nigerian market added 1.13 trillion naira. What are you watching for this week? Tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, West Africa's Capital Markets Integration Conference will take place in Lagos in about a week or two, or a few weeks down the line. We expect a similar conference to take place in Ghana, later in Cape Verde. It's all part of getting up the WACME up and running. And of course, you have the annual general meeting of the Nigerian Exchange Group, which will take place on July the 14th. The notice is out. There will be a re-election of members of the board, as well as bringing other new folks on board and to review the 2022 financials of the exchange group. That's in focus. Don't miss that. The cedi was trading at 11.8 to the dollar and 1100 against the dollar at the Bank of Ghana's interbank market on Friday, July 7th. Give you a bit of a backward-looking information there. The big news you'll be looking out for this week, I'm sure, is Wednesday the 12th, when Ghana's inflation data for the month of June will be released from the Statistics Office. The BESC is looking to raise FX reserves by 14% by the year 2023 ending. Full year speaking, that's also in the news as we speak. What else is making the headlines this Monday morning as we get Frontier Africa markets open up in Southern Africa? That's where I'm going next, with the CEO of Stanlib saying that there would be tough times. South Africa's asset management companies will have to face 2 years of gripes. That's according to the CEO there. And shares of Telkom are slumped 5% because talks of a merger with Maseko Consortium has been put to a halt. In the meantime, Belarus is suspected to start Zimbabwe's carbon exchange, and that's according to South Africa's former president, Jacob Zuma, who is leading that conversation, while Malawi has ordered a review of all its carbon credit programs to see how the country will benefit more robustly from the nearly $20 billion global carbon market that's currently on the street. Let's check in with North Africa. And then what's the big stories? Egypt is directed about £71.4 billion of its funding for investments in the country's Upper Egypt's development region. In Libya, the first half of 2023, the country's oil revenue sank to about $6.9 billion, while Tunisia is reporting olive oil market revenue up about 36.9% for the month of May, while the AFDB has approved 149 million euros in budget support for Morocco's social security expansion program to support one of the biggest country and economies north of the continent. And we got news over the weekend that the tax initiative, tax transparency under the Global Forum, which was supported by the EFDB and a few other institutions such as the OECD, shows that Africa is making more money when it tackles illicit financial flows and tax evasion, while 1.5 billion euros is what the OECD has just reported over the weekend at a forum held in South Africa. And that is good news for the continent by plugging illicit flow as well as tax evasion on the continent. Good news, folks. Now, we're going to break that down in the days ahead. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. This is your Frontier Opening Bell getting Monday and the week curtain raiser for you. You can watch this show again across our YouTube platforms. Follow our social media handles. And, of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube. It's free at Frontier Africa Reports. I am Bosin Omofai. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.